Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Caravan of Garbage, where because we're getting more Jurassic World now and also forever, why don't we tank the algorithm by looking at some Michael Crichton adaptations, which start, I was going to say, reasonably well known and then descend into, I don't know what this is, what is this based on? They're all Michael Crichton, all right?
Well, I was going to say thank you for that intro, because I think a lot of people probably don't even know that Jurassic Park was written originally by Michael Crichton.
Not at this point, I guess, yeah. I mean, it was a hugely popular book. Influential in the sense that everybody was talking about dinosaurs, Mason.
Absolutely. Remember that bit in the book where they're doing computer stuff?
Yeah, it's the best part.
And he's like, the little key clicked the thing.
Yeah.
He opened the gates or whatever.
It's a good thing to put in a book.
I think so too.
Well, he also has a background in computer programming, and that's going to come back around at the end of this. Let me tell you that, Mason.
Oh, yes.
And he also might have a background in putting a diamond in a laser and then cutting a gorilla's hand off.
Absolutely. Don't we all?
Don't we all?
Had you seen this movie before?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And you?
I thought I had. All I remembered was...
You remember to leave a like on this video.
I remembered that. I remember there being a laser gun, potentially. I remember there being a laser grid. Mm-hmm. But I would say this movie had moved so far out of my pop culture consciousness that I'd forgotten who was in it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, maybe the latter Jurassic World movies, you don't really remember the fine details of the plot, but at least you're like, oh, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, they're in it. I'm like... Who's even in this? But this movie, I realised watching it, I'd never seen the whole thing. Mm-hmm. All I'd seen was snippets of it on network TV. Specifically, it would always be after the movie I was watching had finished, back in the bad old days, and then you'd switch over to another channel, and I'd just find Laura Linney, you know, award-winning actor of stage and screen, dismembering evil gorillas with a laser cannon.
Yeah.
That bit I remembered.
A lot of the movie is not that.
A lot of the movie is just goofing around, which is fun. I mean, again, obviously they, you know, Jurassic Park was a huge hit 2 years prior.
Yeah, it makes sense. They're like, what's jungle? What's animals? I don't fucking know.
What's Michael Crichton? What else can we, you know,
yeah.
Was the magic of this the Michael Crichton, the original Michael Crichton novel? I mean, a little bit, but a lot of it was also Steven Spielberg directing Jurassic Park.
Exactly.
But this is Frank Marshall.
Yeah.
Who has directed a couple of things, but he's also like an incredibly prolific producer and executive producer of so much legendary stuff. All the Indiana Jones movies.
Yep. He's the second unit director on Raiders of the Lost Ark and some other movies. Back to the Future, all the Jurassic Parks. Yeah, he's got his hand in everything. Just like Kathleen Kennedy has her hand in this.
And in Frank Marshall.
What?
Because they're married.
I don't know if they do that.
Hey, you said it, man.
You said it.
I don't know if I did. Let's check the tape.
Hey, I'm just going to say that movie that I said it and I don't regret it.
That's what I said then.
That's right.
And I don't regret it. That's wild. I do regret it. If I did say that, which I did.
You did. We heard the tape. We all heard it.
This actually happened because Michael Crichton originally thought this would be a good vehicle for Sean Connery, because Michael Crichton, among other things, was also a director, R.I.P. He has passed away. He directed Sean Connery in The Great Train Robbery in 1978, and he was like, I'm going to make this kind of modern-day version of King Solomon's Mines.
Okay.
And Connery...
He can be a real Alan Quatermain.
Well, that's what he said. He goes, he will play a modern-day Alan Quatermain.
Some people are already laughing. Some people in the know, some people, they're already laughing, James. I tell you that much.
Why would that be funny?
Well, he also played Alan Quatermain in The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. A bona fide classic.
We have covered that when we looked at a bunch of Alan Moore stuff.
Extensively and painfully.
This didn't come up in that. And the reason he took on that role is because he passed on The Matrix and he passed on Lord of the Rings and he went, I don't know, this. And maybe Michael Crichton mentioned it to him in passing and it stuck somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Maybe.
So this is responsible for the last live-action movie Sean Connery ever made?
What a legacy.
Yeah.
Congo.
Anyway, the reason it didn't happen with Michael Crichton is because he wanted to have a real gorilla play Amy. And the studio was like, no. And so...
Amy is a gorilla, by the way. If you haven't seen this movie, they wanted a real gorilla to play Amy the gorilla. They didn't want a real gorilla to play Amy, a little girl going to school or whatever. So the premise of this movie...
Well, she's kind of like a little girl going to school.
Yeah, I guess that's true. This movie... I was going to say the premise of this movie. This movie has numerous premises.
Yes.
One of which is that Dylan Walsh, a young Dylan Walsh.
So young.
Star of stage and screen, wearing a young man's haircut. Dylan Walsh is bussin' in this movie, I must say.
Boy, is
or
he.
whatever the equivalent of bussin' was in the mid-90s. Hypercolor? Dylan Walsh,
Fresh.
he's so fresh.
Yeah.
He's so fresh like a music compilation. But he is raising a gorilla that is, was rescued from the jungle and has taught it to speak, and also has a sort of like a gauntlet, a sign language,
power glove?
a sort of a power glove. Absolutely, thank you. That lets her translate her sign language into speech, which is convenient for plot reasons.
Definitely.
And she's been painting pictures of the jungle, and he's like, we better take her to the jungle. But how can we afford to go to the jungle? We're just earnest primate researchers. Well, luckily, Laura Linney, she works for a big evil corporation that has something to do with lasers and satellites and stuff. And she used to be in the CIA, I think.
And she used to be married to Bruce Campbell. Not in real life, in the movie. Bruce Campbell's in this.
He's in this
for
for
a little bit.
A minute and a half.
And then there's a Bruce Campbell corpse at the end.
Sure
Doesn't
is.
look like him very much.
No. But otherwise, what's he going to do? Just lie in that cave for 2 hours? Come on, man. He's got stuff to do.
You think movies that go for 2 hours take 2 hours to film?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I've seen no proof to say otherwise.
That's an interesting wrinkle to this series.
Isn't it, though? And it's still not ringing any bells, even though you've spoken to me in that curious manner.
Yeah.
I'm not going to question it.
Okay.
So she's got a lot of money, and she wants to go to the jungle to follow up on Bruce Campbell's research about diamonds, because they want diamonds to make big lasers or whatever.
Yeah, or satellites.
On behalf of Joe Don Baker, R.I.P. We just lost him.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
No, damn.
Always a treat to see him
God,
in this.
he's coming at this 110%.
That's right, yeah.
Screaming.
Right.
Also, his son...
I started a fire! Put out the fire! Jesus, all right.
That is something that
I'm gonna go to
happens.
the Congo. It's less hectic in the Congo, quite frankly.
His son in this is Bruce Campbell,
Mm-hmm.
which you wouldn't think so, because he does not care at all that he gets his head smashed in by a gorilla.
True.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. But then Laura Linney supplies the money to take Dylan Walsh and the gorilla.
We should do this every week, by the way, because these are Michael Crichton adaptations that aren't Jurassic Park.
We don't
This
have
is
to...
working for this video. Engagement is going up. I can feel
I
it.
can feel it too. So anyway, they head to the Congo, but they got to meet a few colourful characters on the way.
Yep.
Just an assortment of people who are or will soon be on a TV network medical or legal drama, or a medical legal drama.
Yeah.
Law and bandages.
Mr. Echo is here from Lost.
That's true.
And that's good.
Joey Pants is here.
Joey
Joe
Pants
Pantoliano.
is here,
He's
yeah.
in it for 2 scenes and then he's just gone.
Delroy Lindo is here.
Delroy Lindo is here.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's got a great scene.
Stop eating my sesame cake!
The great Ernie Hudson is in this.
He is so cool in this.
He's such a smooth operator.
And he's British.
Yeah, right.
I run a few guns. You sons of bitches ruined the world.
And it's not the worst accent in this
It's
movie.
really not. He should be more famous. I mean, he's famous.
Yeah.
But of the original Ghostbusters, I like him the most. And he looks the best now.
He's aged the best.
The rest of them look dead.
I say he's aged the best. He hasn't aged at all.
No, he hasn't.
And we've learned from interviews that this is his favourite role he's ever done.
Yeah.
Right? Makes sense.
It does.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and a lot of time in Ghostbusters, they don't give him a lot to do.
That's true.
Which is a shame because he's the coolest one.
It's the coolest one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of accents, far and away the best accent in this. He shows up. It's Tim Curry.
How's he doing it?
He shows up. He tells everyone he's a Romanian aristocrat, and he's got the precise fake Eastern European accent that will be revealed that he's just a British guy faking it.
Yeah.
Except he's not.
No.
He's faking being an aristocrat, but he's a real Romanian.
It's also revealed very early on that he is a con man. And he just is. But he's also not that bad.
Yep.
The only villain is the dude screaming on the satellite.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess in the cave full of white apes that murder
True.
people.
Yeah. But anyway,
Oh, and that hippo that shows up.
there is a killer hippo also.
I mean, they are killer. They're all killer.
That's true. But Tim Curry has wandered in from another movie. I think a TV movie, because he's there to uncover a lost city.
Yeah.
And discover his riches.
Yeah.
Which is the diamonds, coincidentally. But
Diamonds.
like, a lot of this feels like you've wandered in by about the third commercial break of like a low budget TV show of that era, like
Yeah.
a fortune hunting kind of TV show. You remember Fortune Hunter?
I do actually, yeah.
It's a little bit like that.
It is like that until it does kick off. But yeah, I found it pretty dull and uneventful because it's mostly just a trek through the jungle and
Some of which is real, some of which is very obviously
yes.
set.
There's a moment where like a person gets a leech on their penis. There's a moment where a man dies of fright. There's
Dylan Walsh gets a leech on his penis,
Yes, he does.
just to be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they put it in the movie. And
And it's just so much of this is just some scenes. They clearly had roughly a TV budget,
Yeah.
or they were unwilling to spend the Jurassic Park.
I mean,
money.
it all went into the apes and the animatronic hippo and everything.
yeah.
That hippo is real. I mean, this is Stan Winston, so it's
Yeah.
all pretty good work. Yeah.
And I think they put all the money into that, and they're like, what should we do, narrative wise? And they're just like, I don't know, just some goofing off, I guess.
Yeah.
Everybody could bicker. Everybody's at cross purposes all the time. Nobody likes each other.
This could be George of the Jungle, really. You could intercut these two movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there is one guy in this who's on the team who's also from George of the Jungle.
Oh, maybe.
I'll find out whether that is true.
If it's true, here he is.
Yep.
If it's not true, here's a picture of James looking sad with a dunce cap on his head.
Where'd you get that? Why is it still in the video? I was right. Yeah, I think also they put things like the hippo attacking because it's like, oh, we can't do Jurassic Park, but I don't know. We can have an animal attack, right? And I think the problem is because you can't put a bunch of apes interspersed during this because they're all at Ape Volcano.
That's
and
true.
you only get that in the last 30 or so minutes.
Because you need them all to be clustered around Ape Volcano in order for the volcano to erupt and then kill all the gorillas and destroy all the diamonds.
Yeah, exactly.
So
What's interesting about those apes is that originally Frank Marshall wanted to use the same technology on Jurassic Park to CGI a bunch of apes.
Okay.
And that would not have worked at all. Like, you can't simulate fur in this era. I mean, if you look at, like, Jumanji, which is the same time as this, like, you cannot do that. So I don't know why you'd even attempt it, really, because I think suits is the way to go. Though, that being said, he wasn't really happy with them because the way they were lit... You know, you can have the best looking suit or animatronic in the world, but it's in a very brightly lit.
we mean lit also in a 1990s sense, not
Exactly.
not lit like
We
naughty
mean lit,
sense.
lit as in busing.
Yes, we do. We mean lit as in busing.
Yeah, I understand where he's coming from because it does, when they're around, it does feel like a set.
You're a guy who's all like, "Oh, I've got all the numbers. How many gorillas?"
suits.
Thank you. Because there's so many of them.
There's 12.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
you know, because they're obviously making use of...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There he is, proven right once again. Oh, I got the numbers. Oh,
Sorry, I came prepared.
I've come prepared. That's you. Check the tape. Oh, I've come prepared.
I have come prepared.
Wow.
Sorry, next time I won't research anything.
Thank
I'll
you.
fly blind.
Finally.
For the movie Sphere, which we're doing next week. I think the gorillas, for the most part, especially Amy and that silverback, are pretty realistic. And that also comes down to performance. Apparently, it's something to do with the eyes as well, because they used a computer-controlled lathe to make the eyes the right shape. Because if you make a perfectly round eye, apparently it becomes more lifeless. So that's a
Okay.
new technology for this. Also, why is this ape drinking martinis and having cigars?
Because they're goofing around.
I guess.
Because they had that
But
on...
they'd had them before. Like, it's not like the ape was like, it's a gorilla. It doesn't matter. It's not like the gorilla was like, oh, I'm going to try this for the first time. They were flying and they were like, no, it's fine. She can have a martini. She always has a martini.
Because they're goofing around. What I'm saying is they're goofing around on set. They're like, we built the plane set and we've got the gorilla here. What do we do? I don't know. What if we go for a drink? That'd be funny.
You know the thing about gorillas and sign language, right?
They've never asked a question.
Yeah.
We've taught them to speak,
Yeah.
you and me, and famously they answer questions, but apparently, this is what I've heard, they've never asked a question of humans.
Yeah.
Which, does that suggest they don't know how to ask questions, or they're not curious at all, or maybe they have all the answers?
This I didn't research.
Okay.
But
Finally, you're coming around to being cool.
But I can say this, that it's been argued that them signing is just the way you would teach a trick to like a dog.
Yeah, right, okay, sure.
But I do know this, the longest sentence ever recorded by a gorilla, or it's actually a chimpanzee, and I know you know this, called Nim Chimpsky. This is in sign language. It's a 16 sign utterance, and it's give orange, me give eat orange, me eat orange, give me eat orange, give me you. Not a question.
Not a question at all.
I think the silverback looks incredible. And I know you might be like, that's clearly a guy in a suit. But I have, when I was in Uganda, and this is true,
There we go.
I saw gorillas in the jungle up close. And when I got there, I was like, fuck, this just looks like a guy in a gorilla suit. Like, it's just what they look
Yeah,
like.
absolutely. I mean, I've been to the zoo, man, and when you see the silverbacks, you're like, that's just a guy walking
So
around.
I could have gone to the zoo.
You could have gone to the
God
zoo.
damn
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It was literally $1,000 to do this. I had no money then. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I went to the zoo for less than that, but I did throw almost $1,000 worth of change into the gorilla enclosure. So maybe they need some walking around money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, you mentioned sets. They did build a jungle set. So outside of the temple and also inside the volcano, it's the same stage where they filmed The Wizard of Oz. A lot of it they populated with like real bugs and stuff to make it kind of feel real. It's also on hydraulics, so I can like move up and down. And they also built a replica miniature, which then they were able to collapse. And all the stones and bricks were like numbered, so they can put them back in place and kind of do
Here
it
he
again.
is back to his favourite thing. The
Thank
numbers.
you. Well, here's something else as well. The lava flow, they used a grey liquid on a blue screen set, which was a miniature of the actual set, and then they took the lava from one and put it on the other and coloured it, etc.
That's
So
fun.
yeah,
That's movie magic. That is The Wizard of Oz.
it is The Wizard of Oz, which is also a movie like this. They
That's
have that
true.
in common.
That's true.
But yeah, the ending,
The ending, James.
It's
I've
crazy.
got a note here. The end. Well, I mean, I can summarize it very quickly. I have a note here that just says they all get lasered and then they all get lavaed.
yeah.
What's fascinating about this movie, I think, is that Jurassic Park is all about the wonder of nature
Yep.
and, you know, the misuse of technology and how beautiful nature is, and we should, you know, leave nature alone.
Leave it alone.
But this movie, it has no reverence for nature at all.
Yeah, even the guy who's like, I won't carry a gun, is just machine gunning gorillas.
Hell yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
And Laura Linney's just like,
She's got a great line. She's got such a good line.
What's the line?
She goes...
They're about to be endangered or something?
She says, put them on the endangered list, and then she lets off the frickin' laser beam, and she just slices them all to bits.
They run screaming.
Yeah, but she keeps lasering. She's so good.
It's an ape massacre.
Yeah.
But even before that, it gets crazy. There's a moment where one of them runs in and just bowling balls a guy's head.
Right, yeah.
It's wild.
Because we learn towards the end that an ancient jungle tribe of some sort trained them over the centuries
Yeah.
to be killer guardians of this temple.
Yeah.
And so they're now...
They're really good at it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's their job, but they also love it. So in a way, they never worked a day in their lives, and they're really bloodthirsty and etc.
Yeah.
So they're going freaking nuts.
Yeah.
But they've never seen a laser before, have they?
No. I mean, they were bothered by the laser, but they weren't bothered by the machine gun turrets from Aliens.
Not at all. It's crazy.
It really is.
A bunch of people are just knocked off.
Yeah.
Tim Curry cops it.
Yeah, big time.
What's another guy?
Just all the other guys.
All the other
that
guys.
aren't the three main people. And some of them are getting, like, engulfed by lava. And other ones are, like, bombing into it like it's an above-ground pool.
Sure.
And I don't... What is that?
They're goofing around. They were goofing around on set. They had the guys in the suits. And Frank Marshall's just like, I don't know, just goof around. We'll figure it out later.
And they didn't.
They did not.
And then at the end, which is... this also happens at the end of Titanic, but it kind of makes more sense there. The real treasure is just throwing away a diamond?
Yep.
Why? Oh, and shooting a satellite with a laser. That's before.
That
and
is.
then it's throw away the diamond.
That's right, yeah.
I don't understand.
A fully pixelated CGI satellite that we never actually see.
Very good. So it's just kind of like, well, we certainly learned something. We learned that diamonds aren't important, and also that a bunch of people were beaten to death by
Well,
gorillas.
it's interesting you say that. My final note just says a bunch of people died and nobody learned anything. Except it's fun to kill evil gorillas, I guess.
It is fun.
Maybe they could build a park around that.
It's fun to see it.
You could just show up in a helicopter and machine gun evil gorillas. Because you could be like, I mean, you know, a lot of people say zoos are cruel, and you know they make a really good point. But I mean, these guys are evil.
They're bad.
We know that for sure. And we do have a minigun on this helicopter, so what's the worst that could happen? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, do you know what it's time for?
What's the time for?
It's time for Triv Go. That's Congo and trivia.
I like
everyone.
that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
you like it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we mentioned this, but Ernie Hudson stated that his character, Captain Munro Kelly, is his personal favourite from his career.
Bring him back, I say.
I agree. For
Put him in the Monsterverse.
put him in Jurassic Park, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yes, for sure.
Monsterverse is fine.
sure.
Yeah. In the novel, the white gorillas were a crossbreed of gorillas, chimpanzees, and human DNA to explain their aggressive nature. So their faces in this movie have those characteristics,
Oh.
like made into them, but it's not mentioned
Interesting.
that they're people. And this
Yeah.
is maybe where a bunch of diseases came from.
Yeah, how'd they get that DNA in there? How'd they get that human DNA in
How
there?
do you think they got it in there?
I don't know, man. You're the nerd and the sex pervert.
Well, no, here's a tape of you saying how they did it.
Sex. They sexed on each other.
Mason, come on.
I mean, that thing that I said does seem logically plausible, so... Oh no, I've said logically plausible. I'm turning into you, a nerd.
That's good. Under the direction of veteran guerrilla performer Peter Elliott, it took approximately 6 months of intensive rehearsal for Lorraine No and Misty Rosas to become Amy, and for the grey gorilla actors to become primates. I think there's some good gorilla acting in
think
this,
there is
actually.
too, yeah.
Yeah. And this is fun. This goes back to Michael Crichton's love of programming.
Oh, yes.
I knew we'd bring it back. Michael Crichton began developing a graphic adventure game based on Congo for the Apple II in the early 80s. His development took 18 months. Spinnaker Software agreed to publish it through Tellurium.
Okay.
However, Crichton didn't realize that he'd already sold his adaptation rights to 20th Century Fox, so elements were changed and the game was retitled Amazon. It was released on Apple II and Atari ST and Commodore 64 and some other things, but he was disappointed with the game due to technical limitations, but it became Tellurium's most successful title, selling 100,000 copies.
Well, congratulations, Tellurium.
Yeah, a company that definitely doesn't exist.
And never existed?
It never existed.
This
That's
whole
right.
thing was a dream?
Yeah.
Wow. This
And
is like Westworld.
It is like Westworld.
Another Michael Crichton property.
We did look at that too.
We did.
Yeah.
Original Westworld. Not good Westworld, original Westworld.
Or whatever seasons of Westworld are good.
The first two.
I think people like the first one. I don't mind it. I think it's got some absolute killer episodes throughout.
3 is filler and nobody's seen 4. They made it for no reason.
I've seen it.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
They made it for you, the one guy.
I don't remember it. Mason, box office.
Mm-hmm.
On a budget of $50 million, which you might think is a lot of millions of dollars.
Yeah, especially at the time.
Yeah, it made $152 million. Wasn't critically loved. Made decent coin though.
Big bananas.
Yeah.
Or medium bananas?
Yeah, medium bananas. I
Medium
would
to big
say.
bananas. This
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
made medium to big bananas.
There were profits here to be made, and
So true.
that certainly happened. It didn't lead to like a slew of successful Michael Crichton adaptations. Of course, we have looked at the
So we're going to watch more and more of them.
correct.
The bad ones that didn't do well.
That's right. Yeah.
A slew of bad ones.
Yeah, we already did the Jurassic Park movies, and it was decided by everybody that we should do the thing.
You didn't look at the survey at all.
I looked at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did it say?
Said 100 times. Anyways, if you do want to come back next week to see what we're looking at, I already mentioned it. It's Sphere.
Sphere?
You can actually see that early at bigsandwich.co.
Sphere.
That's not the only thing early there, though, is there, Mason?
Nah.
We recently looked at a Jurassic Park arcade game.
Oh, that's right.
It was a wild ride.
Yeah,
That's
literally, because we
Yep.
got in the Jeep thing.
We
the big
did,
Jeep.
rattled
right on,
around.
Rattling around.
Rattling around.
Rattling around.
But there's a bunch of video game Let's Plays there. There's movie commentaries. There's bonus podcasts. Also, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That comes out on Monday, but everything mentioned is ad-free.
That's right.
At bigsandwich.co. But of course, if you just want to check out The Weekly Planet, you can. It's on its own YouTube channel. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple. Or just stay here.
Just stay here.
Look around.
Have a look about.
What's good? What do you like? Maybe not a lot of it. That's all right.
That was a beautiful little poem.
Was it?
Yeah, go back and listen to the tape.
Girl, Mr. Son, I'm moving. I'm a poet.
Get over yourself, honestly.
I might have to get over myself.
I think you should.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Grab that jammy, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.